Good day, everybody, and welcome to Ramble Shrapnel, not Fumble. So many ones. We've got Fumble Shamble, we've got Ramble Shramble. Yes, but this is Ramble Shrapnel. This is all the little bits and pieces of our episode 2 of Redemption Arcs. If you guys have not listened to it, I strongly recommend that you do. I'm your host, Mackie, joined with my fellow Patreon. Thank you, Jotun. Say hi, Jotun.
Hey, I hope that I don't have feathers, that I'm not your feather patron.
Yes, guys, if you are not aware of Ramble Shrapnel or Ramble Shramble, please go have a look at our social medias. We have Twitter, we have Instagram, we're on Facebook. We also have a Discord, which we strongly recommend that you come and join our chats. Come bring us topic ideas, even game with us if you really want to game with us. We also have a YouTube, which we really appreciate any comments, subscriptions, and like buttons and notification bell, all that mumbo jumbo. And don't forget to rate us on Spotify, Apple. There's a lot of media. But guys, this is Ramble Shrapnel, and in these episodes we'll announce who's the winner. And the winner for episode 2, unfortunately, we have to give it to him. Jotun is the winner of episode 2. Congrats, Jotun.
Hey, hear the crowd go wild in the background, clapping and cheering.
The editor can put that in for you, no worries. So,
Yeah.
yes, and why Ramble Shrapnel is different, guys, if you don't know already, if you have not listened to episode 1, I don't know why you skipped 1 to go to 2, is basically we take one of your guys' ideas based on the topic of the episode, and since it was Redemption Arc, we have to give the shout out towards Jules, who mentioned Darth Vader as a Redemption Arc. And I know we did briefly touch on Anakin. We didn't really go into detail because if you don't know who Anakin or Darth Vader is, from the Star Wars universe, you're missing out a big universe of a really cool storyline, really great acting, really great future talk. It's just a perfect thing. So myself and Jotun saw Darth Vader and we said definitely.
Yeah. To be honest, if you haven't heard of Darth Vader at this stage, the pop culture juggernaut that he is, then wow, my friend, you are really living in some deep dark hole somewhere. Like Darth Vader has permeated all of pop culture. Even if someone isn't into sci-fi or anything, surely they've heard of Darth Vader. Enough to at least misquote his line. Yeah.
No, for
Go
sure. And
on.
so to keep this episode short, guys, this is not as going to be as long as our Ramble Shramble talks. So we keep these videos to around about 50 minutes. So I'm going to let Jotun take this first because he is the winner and all hail the King of Jotun for episode 2. Jotun, why do you think Darth Vader slash Anakin Skywalker is a good redemption arc?
Okay, so I'm gonna be perfectly honest here. I don't think that I've even watched all of the original series all the way through, but I might have. It's just that because I grew up with that kind of stuff, it might not be permanently in my recollection. But from what I understand, Darth Vader became a good guy after he went through the whole process of learning about his son and then chopping off Luke's hand and then eventually in the final movie, the Jedi Strike Back, is it?
I don't know the names. If you mentioned the one, if you mention the numbers, then I'll definitely say. So if you say fourth or fifth,
Okay. So you, yeah. So you're in the same boat as me.
well, I know the movies. I know the movies like off
Episode
by heart.
six.
Episode 6, yes.
Vader is convinced by the absolute unselfish heart of Anakin and his perfect persuasion skills to basically just chuck Sidious down the reactor core of the Death Star where Sidious died. And he thereby
Spoiler alert.
redeemed himself. Oh, yeah. Sorry, everybody. Sorry for spoiling a 40-year-old movie at this stage. Um, but he basically just like manhandled him and T-boned him into a massive reactor core where he surely got incinerated or something. So he thereby redeemed himself in the eyes of the audience and surely in the eyes of the Force because he became a Force ghost as well. And as
Hmm.
the Force Ghost, he kind of got retconned into appearing as Anakin instead of Darth Vader,
Darth Vader.
which at least to me implies that as a Force Ghost, he appears as his good self. So I think we can all agree that he redeemed himself. But my one gripe, and I got into a bit of a conversation with someone else on the Discord as well, about this, where we kind of got into the best character arc can only be defined as such through the portrayal of that character's development into a good person. And I kind of feel like Darth Vader's arc wasn't really portrayed that well with him going into the light side, because he's got this metallic suit on. You can't really see what's happening inside of his character through the mask. And so we kind of rely on all the external factors to show us how he's changing on the inside rather than he himself doing so. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that is very true. So the reason why I think Anakin slash Darth Vader is a good redemption arc is in the history in the first episode, or the when Anakin was first brought into this Jedi Order. He was already at the age where the Jedi Order frowned upon him coming in because they know the ways of the outside world. So mentioned before is that the Jedi are very strict in their teachings, and they want to take you when you're very young, so you don't have these outside influences to mold your mind, so they can mold you in the way that the Jedi believe is the right way of doing things.
Hang on.
So they were very
What Mackie meant by how we mentioned this before was we had an awesome Star Wars episode that we highly encourage you guys to listen to, where we go deep into the Jedi and the Sith lore and their orders. So please check that out.
such a good episode.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No worries. So Qui-Gon Jinn is the person who brought believed Anakin was the key to balance the force of good and evil between the Sith and the Jedi. And as upon his death, Qui-Gon Jinn asked Obi-Wan Kenobi to train Anakin in the way of the Force. And reluctantly, the Jedi Order agreed with the request and trained him up. So Anakin was always a bit rebellious. He was a much stronger Jedi compared to others because he didn't lock up his emotions. And this provided a way for Sidious to kind of tempt him towards the dark side. You want power, and he was slowly but over time was pulled and deceived and almost blindfolded to becoming more and more open to killing things. He killed Count Dooku when he knew right there and there that killing is not the way of the Jedi. But then Counselor said, just do it. He's too dangerous to keep. And Anakin agreed. The Jedi Order would never agree, but if we put him to jail, Count Dooku will just go around and kill and start the whole war again. So he killed him. And then this was the one turning point for Anakin slowly but saying that, look, there was not much of a consequence. And so a lot of his going from good to evil is a lot of interest to me, especially, is that he started off as an innocent child, grew up in the Jedi Order, slowly but surely turning more and more evil. And I agree with you, Darth Vader was very metallic. But if you see the other side series like Clone Wars, and there's Star Wars Rebels, which is the cartoon or animation ones, very good shows. I would recommend any Star Wars fan to, if they like Star Wars, to see those. You see Darth Vader come into those scenes, and you see you see a bit more of his character coming out. And in episode 6, when you mentioned the fact that he just kind of turned good, Luke was kind of like an eye opener to Darth Vader, that to the point where Sidious wanted Luke to kill Darth Vader and become his new apprentice to the Sith. And that's where Darth Vader realized that Sidious asked Anakin to kill Count Dooku, and then basically Anakin filled the slot of Count Dooku. And seeing Sidious not even caring for Darth Vader, like Darth Vader's been like a loyal servant to Sidious for such a long time, to the point where Darth Vader also asked Luke to help him, and then he can become the Sith Lord and they can rule the universe together. But seeing that father and son thing opened Anakin's eyes to say, whoa, what have I actually been doing? Because the dark side is very tempting. It's very alluring towards people. And I think Luke was the defining moment to show that he even mentioned to Anakin slash Darth Vader that he doesn't sense all the darkness, all the good has left him. He still senses it, but he doesn't let himself open to it anymore. And after that, then basically, like you said, he threw Sidious down a big hole, and so he died.
I definitely agree with you there. I think Anakin's fall to the dark side is a much more interesting story, and
Mm.
especially a much more interesting story to watch because despite what other people like to say about the prequels, I grew up with the prequels without having watched the original series first, and I'm sure it's the same with you.
No,
And
I
so
watched 4 and 6.
really, that was kind of my entry point into the whole Star Wars universe. Okay,
Yeah, very
well,
much
for
so.
me, I didn't compare it to the original series, and so I didn't really have gripes about all the CGI and things. I loved the CGI, and I actually think that Hayden Christensen portrayed Anakin very well. Even though other people like to make memes about sand and sand getting in places and how he's a whiny baby. But if you think about it, Anakin was actually a spoiled brat. He grew up in the Jedi Order being told, you're the chosen one, you're gonna be the redeemer for the Jedi who's gonna balance both sides of the force. And so like of course he's got a arrogant overinflated personality, and then he, like, true, he did come when he was a bit older. So when he had visions about his mother being still trapped on his home planet and he goes there to try save her, finds out she's dead and decides to murder a whole village of sand people. That makes sense to me because he's in the state of turmoil and he's like in a fit of rage. And it also makes sense that when he gets back to Coruscant, where he's in the Jedi Temple again, then he's going to have all those conflicting internal feelings because he did murder a whole village of sand people, the women, the
Mm.
children, and all of that. And so, like, he's just had a rough story the whole way through. Then he goes on to kill Count Dooku, like a Sith Lord, and he then murders the entire Jedi temple, including the younglings. And then later, Sidious lies to him and tells him that you're the reason why your wife died because you like reached out to her through the Force or something. And then, like 30 years down the line, he learns that, holy crap, Sidious lied to me again. Actually, I have a son. And so just you can just imagine the kind of turmoil and hatred that builds up within him. But now he's
Mm.
in too deep. He's a Sith Lord. And so I can definitely also agree with you where you said Sidious asked Luke to kill Darth Vader. That would be, if you think from Sidious' perspective, that's the perfect setup. He gets to kill the Sith Lord and his father in one blow. I mean, what better situation is there? So I definitely think talking about his fall from grace is a more interesting topic than talking about his redemption. Yeah, and that's ultimately I think why we didn't choose him, even though we know we could have.
Mm. Yeah, his story is very interesting, and I agree with everything you said there. It's just that, like you mentioned before, we didn't see too much because of his outside exterior that was keeping him alive because he was badly wounded after fighting Obi-Wan. You couldn't really see his too much of his emotion, and that was why, like outside after Darth Vader's death in the books and book lore of Star Wars, Anakin's ghost tries to redeem himself, tries to amend the atrocities he did as Darth Vader. And he's done a few things as a Force ghost, including helping Luke start the new Jedi Order, but also helping other Jedi who have lost their way to show that even him, who's been so evil, can also be redeemed. And he basically became a beacon of redemption for Jedi who've lost their way towards the Sith and think they're irredeemable.
Mm.
It's really special to know that they turned Anakin from Darth Vader to a beacon of redemption is possible. You're not always to be seen as an evil doer that's deemed to go to hell.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. But tell me, do you also think that Anakin was actually portrayed quite well in the prequel series?
I love him in episode 1. I love him in episode 3. I dislike him in episode 2 because he was too much of a Vampire Diaries lover boy for me. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong. I think the love story is beautiful, but I feel like oh, this is so much cringe, and you see him using the force to cut a pear and then float it towards his love interest, and she takes a bite and it's all sexy and lovey, and I'm like, ah, stab me with a fork.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I actually kind of looked his edgy kind of look in the third one as well.
Big
That was
time.
really cool, especially growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you haven't seen Clone Wars, you must definitely check out his look there. And he even takes up a Padawan. If you haven't seen Mandalorian, you will probably see it's Ahsoka Tano, and she was Anakin's Padawan who became a Jedi, and I think she left the Jedi Order in the Clone Wars because she doesn't like the fact that the Jedi were became military generals and no longer felt like they left the side of the Force.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think that concludes our discussion about Darth Vader. As you can tell, we are huge Star Wars fans, myself and Jotun. But that could be a future topic for Ramble Shamble, our main podcast channel that you guys should definitely watch episode 2 to kind of understand the two redemption arcs that we touched on, which I won't say because, guys, you better go listen to it if you want to get your mind of closure. But yes, guys, if you haven't done it already, hit a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Leave us comments. We will try actively respond to your YouTube comments and mention topic ideas. And if you guys really want to get to speak with us and really get to know us, join our Discord. Our Discord is available in the description of YouTube, as well as you can find it on Discord, which is just basically like a advertisement for Discord channels. But guys, we want you to join us. If you enjoyed this, please continue to give us your ideas of best redemption arc stories, and we'll still talk about them. We just won't mention them in an episode. But we really appreciate if you guys join us, play with us, chat with us, bring new topic ideas, or maybe you want to join us in a future podcast talk. It's always possible. Anything from you, Jotun?
Keep well, stay safe, grow in your nerddom. I want to see your brains grow.
May the force be with you, in other words.
Yeah.
But thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Ramble Shrapnel episodes. We will try and post as regularly as possible on a Wednesday, but it does depend on how much feedback we get. But Wednesdays is where we plan to post Ramble Shrapnel, and Ramble Shamble we plan to post every Thursday, unless otherwise Gianni will be able to find out on our social medias. But until then, bye from my side.
Bye bye.